Well, Brent and I are very excited to be here today and talk to you a little bit about Diane. But first, I'd like to invite everyone to jump into the conversation because we by no means feel like we know everything. And I've learned so much just talking to people about the fact that we're going to be doing a presentation about Diane. So please chime in, ask questions as we go through. That would be great. All right, next slide, please. So we're going to talk just a little bit about the context of the world in October 1931 and then the introduction of Diane. And then we're going to speak just a little bit about the colors and the lines. And again, we'd like to have your participation, so please consider it a conversation as opposed to a lecture. Next slide, please. So what's happening? As Bill Alexander shared with us this morning when we were attending his presentation, the president at the time is Herbert Hoover. The United States population is about 124 million people. That's about 25% of what it is today, right? Some major events happening at the time include the Star-Spangled Banner becoming the national anthem. In 1931, this is before Bill's pattern was introduced, unemployment was at 16.3%, and Bill mentioned this morning on its way up to 25%. So tough times. Al Capone had been sentenced to 11 years in prison for tax evasion. They never did get him for anything but tax evasion, right? And the Empire State Building was completed. These are some of the things that are happening in the world at this time. Next slide, please. Some of the major cultural events underway in terms of politics and events. Prohibition, of course, is still in play. But in 1931, in January 1931, the National Committee is formed for the repeal of the Volstead Act. So it's on its way out, which happens, of course, in 1933, a few years later. The Great Depression is in full swing, starting in 1929. And, of course, the Dust Bowl is also underway. So definitely tough times in our country, as Bill alluded to earlier. Into this point in history comes the introduction of Diane. It's first mentioned in October 1931 in the China Glass and Lamps magazine, an exquisite line of domestic manufacture made in full stemware, flatware, and dinnerware.
Now this time I'd like to start off with, this was our first pattern we got, and this got it all started, and it's kind of a funny story. We were at, this was before we were married. I was with my father-in-law, Don Russell, and his wife, and my future wife and myself. We were at this antique mall in the Pontiac Mall. And so I'm going through there and looking at the prices, and I saw this. This looked like a bargain. So I bought it and wrapped it up, and I come back, and my father-in-law asked me what I got, and I said, oh, I got this Diane console set. Have you lost your mind? What are you buying that for? So he was like, okay. So then he looks at it and he says, well, you know, the 3-lit candlesticks and the bowl's kind of nice. And so my wife, future wife, goes and says, I really like that. I think we should collect that. And that started it all.
It's in trouble ever since. Now we'd like to take a minute and talk about some of the different colors. Hopefully you can see from the display that we have available all the different colors where you'll find the Diane pattern presented. Next slide, please. So in the early years, and moving from left to right, you'll see willow blue, amber, peach blow, gold crystal, the forest green, heather bloom, emerald green, carmine, crown Tuscan, and crystal.
Then another point I'd like to make here is I haven't found it, but in Florence's book, Rare Book, he shows a picture of amethyst with a silver overlay on it. We haven't seen one other than the picture, but it's pretty nice stuff. So there's some out there, I guess.
Right. So we believe that these were the production colors. Of course, some colors more predominant, more available than others. The amber is probably the easiest to find. We've also seen examples of Diane in royal blue. We've not seen an amethyst version. And has anyone ever seen any ebony? We have not. Ebony. Black. No, we don't think so either. We've not seen it. And the pieces that we've seen in royal blue have been occasional. There's a lamp, which is amazing. So I think there's 1 or 2 of those in existence. But we've not seen a piece of amethyst either. How about anyone out there have any unusual colors? Okay. Next slide, please. In the later years, from 1940 on, with the exception of selected crown Tuscan blanks, Diane became a crystal pattern, plain and to some extent gold encrusted. And so the colors gradually taper out. By the late 1940s through 54, production was limited to crystal. So a conclusion I think we can draw is that anything in color, other than Crown Tuscan, of course, was probably made during the first 9 years of production. So the colored is some of the oldest pieces in the pattern. And then we just want to talk a little bit about lines. Next slide, please. So the most common line that we see is the 3122 line, which was produced from 1931 to 54. And most of the stems on the right-hand side you see are the 3122 line. And some of these over here on the left as well. Most of these on the left as well. The 1066 line, or Aurora, was produced in 1931. And in our conversation before the presentation, we found that there are some collectors who have this in their collection. We do not. We don't have any Aurora. And we've never seen any, but we know some collectors do.
So we may be getting some soon.
We hope. The 3106 line was produced in 1934. And the 3575 line, or Stradivari, was produced in the 1930s to the 1940s. And you'll see a couple examples on the far right with our dinner setting. In addition to those major lines, there were other stemware lines that carry the Diane pattern. The 3104 cocktails, 3120 cordials, 3500, 7801, the hollow stem saucer champagne, and then also sherries in the last line. And we have a cordial right there on the left.
To add to this, since we were collecting Diane, I kind of got on my own little tangent here with the cordials, because they seem to be a lot smaller and take up less space, so I started growing those, but they seem to be fairly hard to find anymore, so that may be ending too.
The Diane pattern is also available on a variety of tumblers, both pressed and blown. Next slide, please. And an amazing number of jugs, 10 jugs, including the 3400 line, the 3900 line, decanters, cordial bottles, and cocktail shakers. And so it's everywhere. And it was produced for such a long time that there are a lot of different items that you can find. The dinnerware was primarily in the 3400 line, and that's what our dinnerware is. The dinner plates, like many other patterns, are extremely difficult to find. And we had our first crystal dinner plate for Christmas this year. Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
In terms of the different pieces available in the dinnerware, as you can see, it was quite an extensive line. So bread and butter plates, salad plates, dinner plates, and service plates, the cup and saucer, the after dinner, cranberry bowls, fruit saucer bowls, cereal bowls, cocktails, icers, the finger bowls, canapé sets, corn dish, the rim soup, 4 different oil bottles, and 5 different salted peppers. And we have a couple different examples here at our table. Oh,
No,
yes, I'm sorry.
I have some of those, but I couldn't fit all in the box.
Need to add that to the slide, sorry. Yes, cream and sugars, a variety, a plethora of cream and sugars. And of course, when you're first starting out, that's what you find and can afford, right? The cream and sugars.
Most of our stuff is, I got like 15 of the salad plates. Those seem to be the easiest to find at the time. It's like, wow, I found some Diane, huh?
And we were so excited.
We were so excited, and then it's like I'm down in the basement the other day. It's like, man, there's about 15 of these down here.
But again, that's what you find, what you can buy, what you can afford, right? In addition, there are many other decorative pieces as well, including 6 different types of candlesticks, 9 different candy boxes, and 23 different vases. Can you imagine? And I don't think I have all 23. No. Some of the other treatments we want to talk about are the gold encrusted and Crown Tuscan. The 1942 price list offered 161 different crystal items with gold encrusting. And a gold encrusted luncheon set was offered in Diane, but not a dinner set. Isn't that interesting? How they chose to offer some things and others. And the 1940 price list contained a listing of 22 pieces of Crown Tuscan with gold encrusted Diane. And by far, that's the easiest color to find. If it's not crystal, it's probably Crown Tuscan. Then the next most frequent color that we found is amber.
Although that's not supposed to be true, because I got Hedi a gold encrusted amber bowl for Christmas one year, and it's in the rare book there, and it's like, wow, I found something here. She was real happy. Well, then when we go to the show, she was able to get like 2 amber at the glass dash, 2 at the show. So it's like, who knows?
That's how it is. You never know what you're going to find. Right? Some of the additional treatments, the plates and platters with silver borders, and we have a couple examples up here. And there's also examples of Diane, the Diane etching combined with other patterns such as Portia. Mm-hmm. And do you want to highlight the Crown Tuscan piece as well?
Yeah, the Crown Tuscan I brought last night, and Lynn was saying it's got Diane on it, and it's got chintz. So it's kind of unusual.
In the 1949 catalog, as the business starts to wind down, there are 71 items listed in crystal Diane and nothing listed as gold encrusted. And Crown Tuscan Diane is now only listed and including 12 items. So the production obviously was severely cut back. The final price list in 1903 had almost 100 different listed items. And regular production stopped in 1954, so that means 23 years of production. So that's a long time for anything to be produced. Why Diane? Some people ask me why. Why that pattern? What's so appealing about that one? Why'd you pick Diane? To me, it's beautiful, but it's very distinctive. I can easily recognize the little horseshoe in the center. To me, it looks like the main loop is a horseshoe, and I can always find that. And when you're just starting out, it's easy to be able to, oh, I know what that is, right? When you're learning how to identify different patterns and pieces. It's obtainable. If you're at an antique market, if you're at a show, it's very likely that you're going to find Diane because there's so much of it made, right? So even if you just see a stem, which we see all the time, crystal stems and salad plates, as my husband mentioned, you're going to see it, right? And it's reasonably priced, and so it can be obtained. It can be had. It can be found. And as most of us know in Cambridge, there's a surprising and seemingly infinite variation, right? So just because it isn't supposed to exist doesn't mean it doesn't, right? So just like the gold encrusted light emerald bonbon, that's not supposed to exist, but it does. I'd be happy to take any questions before I talk a little bit about our references. So I'd like to thank all the people from the Miami Valley Study Group because I extensively used their website to do the research for the presentation. It's amazing, and I hope that we were able to contribute in some small part. It's a wonderful reference if you haven't been there yet. It's a tremendous compliment, and it can help you with your research or if you're just wanting to go spend some time and look at beautiful glass. All right. Well, we thank you so much for your time and attention today.
Thank you.